So 1 week after the Microsoft Business Update podcast meeting thing that they had last Thursday, we are getting the official release dates and announcements for Xbox games on other platforms. Does this mean Xbox has gone full third party? Maybe, sort of. Let's talk about it. I'm Bobby here with Direct Gaming, and today we're going to talk about the Xbox games getting release dates for Nintendo Switch and PlayStation that happened today. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy this video. If you don't enjoy this video, leave us a dislike and let us know in the comments what we can do better for next time. So, starting off this morning, we were actually going to do a video on the Nintendo Direct, but outside of this, it wasn't hyper engaging, right? I didn't feel like there was too much to it. You know, it was like, oh, okay, it was all right. We did get the release dates of Pentiment and Grounded for Nintendo Switch, which was kind of wild because Xbox said, oh, we are preparing, just a week ago, we are preparing some games to come to other platforms, 4 games. Now, as of today, we have the release dates of 3 of those games, right? I already said 2 of them, Pentiment and Grounded. We'll talk about the third in just a minute. But Pentiment is kind of a smaller scale game from Obsidian. You know, they're known for like Outer Worlds and working on Fallout New Vegas, obviously. So they made Pentiment. My understanding is that it's a very good game. It's like a smaller scale kind of RPG-ish thing. I haven't played it, but I've heard really good things about it. That is going to be coming out tomorrow for the Switch. So Microsoft was just prepping to drop this, I guess. Yeah, really quickly. And Grounded. Grounded is a big survival game. I always saw this. I haven't played it. I think I mentioned that last week. I haven't played it. It's got this real Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibe. You're a bunch of kids who get shrunk down to be super tiny, fighting your way through a backyard. And so there's tall blades of grass and bottle caps, all that kind of stuff. Just like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, if you saw that movie when, you know, you're a kid. If you're a kid in the 90s, you probably saw that. But Grounded is a survival game. It is set up to be a co-op game, and it's coming out in April. I believe it's April 16th. Now, why this is strange is, again, because Microsoft just told us about this last week, and there were rumors that they delayed the Nintendo Direct because of this, right? Because of Microsoft's like business meeting and that announcement, because the leaks came out. So if they delayed the Nintendo Direct and they rushed up the Microsoft business meeting, which it seems like they did, the more I go back and watch that, there's lots of little flubs. Everyone seems kind of off their game. They're kind of like, oh yeah, right? You hear, Phil Spencer seeming really not on his game. Sarah Bond doing a lot of like, which is very uncharacteristic of her. You hear us do that, right? Because sometimes we go a little off the cuff, but with her, she's always very together, prepared. So hearing her do that and seeing Phil Spencer kind of like, well, yeah, we believe this is the best, thing for Xbox. It kind of seemed like they had to rush to put that together. Not everybody was super prepared, but with these 2 announcements, we see that Xbox kind of moving to that third-party direction, and these are their trial runs. I actually believe that Grounded is probably likely to do pretty well on Nintendo if the online holds up, because Nintendo's online is notoriously like awful. I can't think of a Nintendo Switch game that I've played personally online that I'm like, yeah, like Mario Kart, I guess is like probably the best that I've played. But it's Mario Kart. It's not that, not that crazy challenging. But Grounded, hopefully it works out well. Now, we talked about a third game a little earlier, and this one is Hi-Fi Rush. And Hi-Fi Rush, if you've been around here for a while, you know my opinion on that game, but a lot of people loved it. And it's now been announced for PlayStation 5. And I remember a lot of people going, oh, you're mad, it's not on PlayStation, it's on Xbox. And I'm like, I have a PC. I want to play Xbox games. I want them to be good. I just didn't gel with that game. I didn't like it. It didn't feel fun to me. Like a lot of people thought it was fun, but I thought it was kind of slow and what have you, right? So for Hi-Fi Rush now, as like the biggest new IP to come to Xbox in a long time in terms of like public perception and the reception, right? A lot of people really loved that game. They thought it was cute. They thought it was fun. for that to be coming to their main competitor's platform is really strange. You know, it has been announced for, I believe, March 18th, and there was very little fanfare. There wasn't like wasn't announced as a big event. They just kind of dropped the trailer and release date on YouTube. And, you know, Hi-Fi Rush, for all its faults that I saw, like I said, was a very well-received game by the general public. And you'd think that Microsoft would want to keep something like that close to their chest, you know, keep it, you know, because Phil Spencer said, hey, not everything is going to go on other platforms. These games are a year old. And, you know, he said that in Hi-Fi Rush, yeah, it's like a year old, right? But it feels really weird to see that. Like, I can understand Grounded because it's like a multiplayer game. I can understand that. It's kind of like Sony releasing Helldivers on PC, and they're supposed to be doing that with, like, I think Concord when that comes out. And they're seeing great success with that, by the way, with Helldivers at least. Let's hope, you know, Concord can do something for them in the shooter space, because they really need that now that Xbox owns, you know, Call of Duty. If they can get their own shooter out there that's a live service, that'd be cool. But these Xbox games coming to other platforms just feels really weird, right? I do predict that if we see some other games moving over in the future, it'll be because these games came out and did well. Pentiment, I think, is just a small scale game that's not going to do very well on any platform. I don't think Pentiment really sold all that well. I think people who played it on Game Pass and were like, oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, okay, I played it, I'm done, you know. Hi-Fi Rush has the potential to sell because it does have a very, you know, very pretty art style. I love cell shading, and, you know, as much as I didn't enjoy that game overall, I thought the art style was beautiful. And I've said that, like, the game is super pretty. It's very comic booky, Saturday morning cartoony kind of look. But again, seeing that come over to PlayStation and like not like Switch, I expected a Switch announcement, right, for that, which is really strange. I assume it's going to release on Switch 2 soon after that, but we'll have to see. The first announcement I saw was for PlayStation 5, which, you know, I feel like that's the other thing about this is releasing things on Nintendo Switch is like, okay, well, Xbox, you know, with the whole Activision deal is trying to play nice with Nintendo, right? They said they're going to give all the Activision titles to Nintendo, right, including Call of Duty. And so they're trying to play nice with Nintendo because the Switch has a huge install base. The Switch 2 is almost guaranteed to have a huge install base. And with, you know, access to that, Microsoft has the capacity for a lot of sales, and it's not really a direct competitor. Switch doesn't really compete with anything else, right? There's nothing else that, like, I mean, maybe a Steam Deck, but, you know, Steam Deck, I mean, even with all those sales, I think there's something like less than 5 million sales of like Steam Deck, ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion, all those handheld PC things. There's like less than 5 million sales total, and Steam Deck I think is like getting close to 2 million. So like the other ones haven't sold all that much. When you compare it to a Switch, right, with the IP that Nintendo has, they have a lot of power in the market, and I could see Xbox really wanting to go like, hey, we want to utilize that, inform more people of our brand, so people, you know, especially kids, because a lot of kids have a Switch. Kids get older and they see, oh, well, Xbox makes good games that I like Hi-Fi Rush, like Grounded. I could see that strategy working out. Well, I'm going to pick up an Xbox when I get older. That could be a good thing. Pentiment, again, I don't see a ton of sales coming from that, but Grounded could do well. But I'm really, really kind of weirded out that they're putting their, you know, one of their biggest new IPs on their direct competitor, PlayStation. I don't know a single person who owns a PlayStation who who will buy an Xbox if they don't have one already. This last holiday, Xbox Series X was like $350. The Series S was like $150 to $200. I almost bought a Series X. I thought about it, but I don't like Xbox hardware. And, you know, for the controllers, like I can buy a third-party controller that's better. Like the PowerA Fusion controller is great, and it's basically the same layout and feel as an Xbox controller. Like that would be the only thing for me that would sell me on that. I don't know if putting Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation, especially PlayStation First, is gonna really, you know, is it gonna do numbers? It's an old game now, and it kind of looks like Xbox is trying to feed it to PlayStation players, going like, please buy this because like, no one else is buying it. Can you please buy it? Which feels bad. And then the fact that Xbox, you know, is having another game which is yet to be announced, at least as far as I know. Maybe it gets announced while I'm recording this video, but overall, it's just a weird strategy. The more and more I think about it, the more I think like Like the only way they can really make this work is if they do just go fully third party with everything, right? We see from Sony releasing Helldivers, when you release a brand new game on a platform, people are going to be much more likely to buy and engage with it, right? If they had released Starfield on PlayStation day one, you know, it probably would have gotten a ton of sales from all those people who love Fallout 4, Fallout 3, right? Skyrim, right? And the 87 versions of that. But if you release it now after it's had all this like kind of mixed press, like there's obviously some people who are like Starfield's one of the greatest things I've ever played, and there's people who are like, oh, Starfield's like kind of boring. Like, you know, some people say it's bad. I don't think Starfield is bad. I do think it's kind of boring. It does feel outdated in its design. Like there's a lot of load screens for 2023, almost 2024, you know, but it's not a bad game. It's just it's very mid, right? It's very just middling. Not the greatest game. Not a game that's shaping public discourse. I don't see anybody really talking about it anymore. Aside to say, you know, like, oh well, Starfield might be coming to another platform. Things like that. So, you know, imagine if they released Indiana Jones day one on PlayStation. They're gonna get some sales there, and that's just kind of a market reality, right? Look at when PlayStation released God of War and Spider-Man. Those games didn't do too hot. You'd think like Spider-Man, it's a huge title, but they released it like 4 years after it came out on PC, or 3 years after it came out, something like that. It's 2021, 2022. And it's a great port from my understanding, but like if you're like me, like I got Spider-Man when it came out in 2018 and played it, and I even played the remaster when it came out on PlayStation 5. I will play that. Like, do I need it on PC? No. And if it came after so many years, maybe if I was a PC gamer and it came after so many years, I'd be one of the ones to buy it. But I'm one of those people who, like, I buy a PlayStation because I want PlayStation games. I buy a Switch because I want Switch games. And I would buy an Xbox if I couldn't get them on PC, right? And they had games I really, really wanted to play. The losing exclusivity is a really, really big deal. It's a bigger deal, I think, than a lot of Xbox fans want to admit. Because if this takes off and these do get sales, right? I can see Grounded getting sales. I can see Hi-Fi Rush doing okay. But if this convinces Microsoft, not Xbox, we're not talking Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty. We're talking like Satya Nadella, the shareholders, the C-suite of Microsoft, who goes like, oh no, we need that money. This makes it, I see them going just full, like, day and date, first party, every platform they can get it on. Because Microsoft wants to make money, and Xbox is not making them the money that it should, in theory, be making them. And I think they realize that with Game Pass. Like, if they want to keep Game Pass going, right, like Phil Spencer wants to. And I know Call of Duty, I feel like they're going to bank a lot on Call of Duty, but I feel like Call of Duty might be like Starfield, where like I subscribed for Starfield to try it, and then I played about 40 hours and then kind of fell off of it and didn't renew Game Pass for a couple months. And that's what's going to happen with Call of Duty, in my opinion. There's going to be a ton of people, especially on PC, who go, yeah, I'll sign up for Game Pass for $10. They're going to play it, and then a couple months later, they're going to fall off it. It's a market reality with sub services. There's people who like my parents sub to Paramount Plus to watch the Super Bowl, and they just immediately cancel it after the Super Bowl, right? They're like, oh, we'll pay for the 1 month. Like, oh, it's $12 to watch Super Bowl, like live, whatever. So they did. And after the Super Bowl, they just cancel it. Like, that's what people do with subscription services. It's easy to just hop right out of them. The second you realize, like, I'm not really playing Call of Duty anymore, which a lot of people do throughout the years. They buy it, and then the game falls way off. It happens every year, every single time. Then the subs are going to go down because we're like, oh, well, I played it for $10, or I paid $20 to play it for 2 months instead of 70, right? And again, Microsoft's going to see that and then go, okay, how are we going to make this $70 billion back? And I think that's going to be the way they go, is just the full release of third party. It's like, it makes sense from a business standpoint to do that. And Satya Nadella, that guy's a smart guy. He's a good businessman. I'm not a huge Microsoft fan in general, but he's a smart guy. He knows how to make money, and he might be the one pulling the strings at this point. But what do you think about these announcements? Grounded and Pentiment getting release dates, and then on Nintendo Switch, and then Hi-Fi Rush getting a release date on PS5. This is really mind-blowing stuff, especially Hi-Fi Rush first really debuting on PS5 is just super weird to me. Like, I don't know what to think about that. But I would love to hear your thoughts, and we can have a discussion down in the comments if you want to let me know what you guys are thinking. But again, thank you so much. I'm Bobby here with Direct Gaming, and subscribe if you made it to the end. Leave a like, and let us know what you think about this Xbox business. I'm hoping that Xbox can find a way to really just make good games. I've been saying this for years. They just need to make games that people want to play. And if this helps that, like if this helps to get money to fund studios and have proper time to make good games, I would love that. I really would, because I want to be able to go, man, like Xbox is making killer stuff and Sony's making killer stuff and Nintendo obviously is always making killer stuff. So if we can get all three of them firing on all cylinders, it'd be great for gamers. And I'm just hoping that we can see that from them, because that would be good. Anyway, let us know again. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.